Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tea Time with TeaCup Entrepreneurs. I am your hostess, Steph Pellish, and I am so excited today to be joined by Nikki Holbrook, who is the founder of Flower Buds Creative, a branding and web design studio that helps small business owners bring their online presence to life fast. Nikki specializes in creating beautiful, high-performing websites in just 1 week, helping her clients feel seen, supported, and ready to confidently share their work with the world. Her designs focus on seamless user experiences so your website not only looks amazing, but helps you get found and grow. Nikki just helped us at TeaCup Entrepreneurs to redo our website. And so I am so excited to have her here and to talk to her today. So welcome, Nikki.
Thank you, Steph. That was an awesome intro. I really loved it.
Thanks. For those who are watching, just know that I had to go through that 3 times to get it right, but here we are. We made it. So, welcome, and let's just dive in and start with what is it that got you into web design? Who are you? Wherever you want to start with who you are and what you do, we would love to hear a little bit about that.
Sure. When I was in high school, I was one of those people that didn't know where I wanted to be, kind of just was, going with the flow, doing what I was supposed to. And I was in art classes and I loved art. I was really successful, just really loved what I was doing, but didn't know that there was a career out there for that. I ended up going to community college, Monco, in the area, and was able to learn to take art classes there as well. Eventually evolved into a fine arts degree while I was there, but didn't really see potential as to like what that meant and like where I could go. And found just kind of stumbled on graphic design as a major within fine arts and saw that there was an opportunity to build a career with that. And went into college as a graphic design major at Arcadia University, which is where I got my BFA, and was able to intern twice while I was in college, which was really nice. I once was within a nonprofit for the homeless of Philadelphia, and then another time was for a pharmaceutical advertising agency in the area in Horsham. And so I was able to kind of get a big difference of
Those are
experience
very different
there. Absolutely.
perspectives.
And I was able to kind of see what it was like being an internal designer as well as an agency designer, and saw that I quickly wanted to be within an internal team and work with other like marketers and people with diverse backgrounds. And so my first job out of school was working for Nutrisystem, and I was there for probably 4 years and learned a lot throughout my whole career. I was working a lot of marketing, different positions in design for a lot of bigger companies. My last role was with Vanguard. And, as I was in these jobs, I really loved the relationships I made with the people I was working with. I really loved the work that I was doing, but really felt like I never got that growth that I wanted to see financially or title wise, even though I was getting amazing reviews within my, annual reviews and whatnot, and never saw any kind of growth potential there. And so I decided to kind of take it in my own hands and build my own thing. And I really wanted to help smaller businesses and kind of take that experience that I had as a marketer within these larger companies to be able to take that experience and use that for good to help these smaller businesses build dreams of their own, specifically women-owned businesses is
Yeah,
my passion, just because I truly believe as a woman it is harder to kind of excel your career within the corporate environment. And so I wanted to take that, harness it, and help women, build their dreams and build their dream careers. So
I love
yeah.
it. Has was owning a business or being an entrepreneur something that you had considered before? You just kind of
No,
winged
it was it was something that I had never really considered before. I was always scared of it, let's say that. It was always something that people would kind of say, like, well, would you think about doing this? Just because I was never getting exactly what I wanted or never getting to where I wanted to be. And so I was always afraid that I couldn't do it, that it was something that I wouldn't be able to withstand or be able to handle. How do I get clients? How do I find the people? It was just kind of a lot of question marks, but my husband was really adamant about making me feel like I can do it and was really, on my side and supported me. And he's like, let's try it. You've been unhappy. Let's make the move and see what happens. And so thankfully for him and the support that he had for me, to make the move, to make the jump um was really helpful in making that transition because it was a really scary thing
It
for
is.
me.
There's so much uncertainty there, and there's so much, like you mentioned, there are so many question marks.
Yeah.
And so not knowing the answer, not knowing how are you going to find clients, and everyone kind of comes into entrepreneurship a little bit different. Some it's because they've got side work that grows, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is a thing. And others who are like, I need to get out of this situation. And I'm just going to do it on my own. So I love that perspective of, all right, I'm just going to do it. And now you've kind of turned that and said, and I'm going to help other women do this thing too.
Yeah. And not only that one, I mean, the question marks were one thing, but it was also, I was like the breadwinner in our family. I was making, more money than my husband at the time. And so I knew that, me leaving would be a big sacrifice for both of us. It wouldn't just be something that, I'd be taking on this new thing. It would be financially an issue for the two of us. So, um, that was the big leap for me as well. But I've been doing it for 5 years now, and I don't regret making the leap whatsoever at this point. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So I'd love to know so you kind of had a leg up as to how to create your own website, how to put together a logo, how to do the branding, right? Like that sometimes is
The biggest
holds
part.
people back too because they're like, well, I don't have a website yet, and so I can't have a business.
Right.
Or they'll just kind of like DIY and put up a home screen or use their MailChimp and
Yeah.
that's their landing page. And so I would love to know like, how did you start putting those pieces together, or what could someone who's brand new put together, or what advice might you have for them?
Yeah. So it is a lot to DIY for sure. And it is something that I've seen a lot of people do. And I think, the ideal client for me is not someone that, is fresh out the gate, that is just starting and trying to figure out what they're doing. I feel like your business changes a lot within that first or two, 1 or 2 years, because you're kind of figuring out what works and what it is that you want to say. So for me, I'm kind of that position where I'm like, once you've made some money and you're feeling more comfortable in your business, that's when you come to me.
You've DIY'd it long enough.
Yeah. But as people who are DIYing, I think something to know and to think about when you're building out your DIY branding or website, you want to make sure that you have identified your mission and your core values, the reason why you're doing the thing. Um, those are really important to communicate to your audience to make sure that they are connecting with you because right now that's the thing that makes you stand out with everything that's going on with AI. AI is really generic. And so if you're using AI to write your copy, you're not going to stand out at all against the competition. And the way that you stand out is showing who you are and what it is that you believe in. And that's where I think your core values and your mission really, make you stand out and make you something that people are attracted to. So I think identifying those things is most important out of all of the things that you need to do when creating your brand and your, website.
Yeah, and I think that's something too, especially at the beginning, depending again on how you end up in your business journey, can get easily overlooked
Hmm.
because well, I have a business. My purpose is to just serve my clients or to do this thing. But
Right.
it's so important to look at those underlying values and mission statement, like you said, because it does come across in your messaging, or that's what makes your messaging like grounded and stronger. And so I love that. Is that something that you find that the people that you work with have in place, need a little bit more strengthening? Like what's your experience with that? I'm curious.
It's a mix of both. I think that there are people that kind of have an idea of it already, but maybe haven't thought about it and put it down on paper, and maybe haven't kind of explored it as like a finalized statement, maybe.
Mhm.
And so I'm there to help facilitate that, to help kind of build that confidence in knowing that this is what you're saying. A lot of times sometimes they'll come to me with these long paragraphs of, what their mission and what they're trying to do. And I'm there to kind of nail it down and bring it back, rein it back, to kind of give you a more concise, detailed, um, piece of information that's more of an elevator pitch, something that kind of shows people who you are in a quick, concise way. And that's not to say that we need to like boil everything down into like one to two sentences, but the
Right.
point the point of that is to kind of be able to explore your story in a way that people will be able to digest and understand and pull out the most important nuggets of it. So that's what I'm trying to do when we are going through branding exercises, is thinking through how we can make this more appealing to the people that you want to bring in, like what it is you're actually trying um to do. So
Yeah,
um
because I know working with you, like you have a whole process of collecting information, learning really about the business, learning about the people behind the business so that it really does come forward. It's shown on the outward facing experience through their branding, through their website. Um, and so, when you do have someone who comes with like all of these ideas, or because we're our business is our baby, and so we want to make sure that you understand every single aspect of it and every single possible thing that we can do. And so what can you give us a little bit more information about, like, are you teasing out the important information? Are you helping that business owner to tease out what's really the priority? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, there's an initial questionnaire that I send when I start to work with someone. And I'm asking these questions in hopes that they already have this exploration happening, that they've already thought about these things. But like I mentioned, there are people that don't always have the answers, or maybe don't know exactly how to answer them. And so however I get that those questions answered within the questionnaire, my next step is to kind of build out the path forward. So to think about, okay, how can we kind of reframe this and make this feel a little bit more consistent with what they're trying to do, who they are, in the maybe initial conversations I've had with them, maybe what I've gleaned from our conversations. And so I take that information paired with what they've mentioned in their questionnaire and build out an initial like market research presentation for them within their mood boards that I do for their like first step for their branding design. And that builds out specifically, this is what I heard from you, this is what I'm seeing. And this is a more concise way of saying that, and kind of giving them a little bit more detail and story behind why I, use the type of language I did.
Mhm.
And we had that conversation. And of course, I'm open to feedback. Sometimes there is, sometimes they're like, oh, you've hit the nail on the head. This is exactly what I want. It's all meant to be reflective of you. And so, I don't always have all the answers. And so my hope is that it's a conversation for us to be able to make sure that we're on the same page,
Yeah.
and that I'm, getting the right detail from you, or understanding it the right way, so that we can make sure that other people get it correct
Yeah.
otherwise.
And you're personalizing it and you're doing it with that back and forth. And I'm sure when people are coming to you and maybe you're going to see their website, there are a lot of generic websites out there. There are
Mhm.
a lot of stock photos with we're not going to call out any industry. So with like, here's what we do, here's our address, here are some stock photos, and maybe two articles that we wrote 10 years ago,
Yeah.
call us. That's like, okay.
Yeah, that I mean that's a valid point. A lot of people don't even know what to put on their website. Like what type of content is going, like what do they need? What's the information
You need
that
to know how to contact me.
yeah, like that's
See a
so that's
picture.
yeah, that's like the biggest question mark I get from people is I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't even know what to put on my website.
Mhm.
It's not even just about design or building it. It's more about, I don't even know what the content should entail. And so that's part of my job is like helping you figure that out and guiding you through that experience and figuring out like, how can we tell the story? That's kind of what I'm trying to do is tell a story about your business and help people follow that story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Story Brand,
Mhm.
um, but that's kind of the type of mentality that I try to use with my clients is thinking through how we can guide people through the conversation about your business and telling the story of who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it. Um, so yeah, the structure of it is really important for sure.
Yeah, I can think of a few websites that I've been on that I'm like, well, I guess I know what you're doing, and I'm here because I'm buying the thing, and this is where I know I need to go buy it. But
Mhm.
we talked a lot about during my website process, building my website, like I want it to be easy for my users to use. I
Yeah,
want my users to have an experience that they come on, that it's easy for them to engage, it's easy for them to know what Teacup is and to log into their membership or to sign up. Like they can figure that all out. And I think that's something that, you know, people forget that the website can really do a bulk of your work. Like I don't need
yeah,
to, I mean, sometimes we need to jump on sales calls, but if you've got a great website, somebody can just click the button
yeah,
because they understand what
yeah.
it is that you do.
Yeah, having a strong website, I always say, is like the foundation, the strong foundation for your business and your marketing. Um, but there are other elements and tools to include into your website as it grows to keep it going. It should be a living and breathing thing. It should be something that's constantly being updated and treated with care because it's something that you should be using as a tool. And there are other mechanisms to add to your website to make sure that it's consistently bringing people in and giving you leads because that's what you want from your website.
Yeah. It's not just somewhere to send your leads to make the purchase. It's something that is continuing the conversation or creating the conversation.
Yeah.
So I want to take a little bit of pivot here and find out like there are a lot of things that you mentioned that you do, and you do branding, you do web design in your studio. And so I'm curious, like, what is your favorite part of the creative process?
So I really love doing the branding piece. And I think that's just because I'm a creative and I love making the marks and I love picking the colors and doing the exploration with the mood boards. It's very creative and, artistic. But my favorite part of that piece is being able to show people how to be creative in that process. Like I am coaching you and guiding you through that process. And I'm able to show these people how to be creative and communicate their business in a fun and creative way.
Mhm.
Um, and they're able to see things start to come together and it becomes real for them. Like I can see throughout that week the the spirit becomes really excited and just kind of like aligned with what's happening. And it is just really exciting to see like by the end of the week, like yes, we've made it happen. Like they're always shocked, like, oh, you've hit the nail on the head. You completely understand. And what they don't see is like, I am hearing you. Like I'm just listening to you. You're guiding me. Like you're giving me direction and you don't even know it. And so
But you've given a structure so that they can find that. And I think I found that really supportive too. During one part of the process, I remember you had asked me a question, and I was like, I don't know. And you were like, are you ready to move forward with this? And I was like, I need to just make a decision. Like, I need to decide this is what I'm doing so that I can go forward. And it gave me that structure. It gave me that push, but to make those decisions and to say, like, yes, this is my colors. Yes, this is the offer. Yes, this is the content that I want on there. And you know, a lot of times if you're working with solopreneurs or if you're working with like the person in charge to do the
Mhm.
website, they've got so many other things on their plate that they lose focus on those things. And so it's a
Yeah.
great way to kind of like just bring it all back together
Mhm.
and then have a tangible outcome of a website
Right.
or a new logo at the end of it.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I decided to move forward with the in a week processes because a lot of people are like, that is a bonkers fast process. However, the reason why I did that was I think we often get too caught up in decision making when it comes to these types of things. Like
Yeah.
I always tell people process over perfection because with a website, like I'm saying, like it's a living, breathing thing. And if you don't make decisions, to get it out there, it's not going to happen. And so this is a way for everyone to make sure that we're making decisions quickly, we're getting something out there. We're getting a great starting point, a great foundation for you to then build upon and to learn from. Because part of, I use Squarespace as my platform. The reason why I do that is because it's easy for you to see, how your website's performing. People are coming to it. Where are they going? Where are they falling off? You're able to see that information and that data in the back end. And so my position is that we should be learning from that. We should be taking that detail and kind of figuring out how to make it better to keep improving it, because that's something that you want to think about. And with the process in a week, we're able to make those decisions to kind of put something out there, essentially throwing spaghetti at the wall. Make
Yeah.
sure that because there is no black and white answers when it comes to marketing, period, no
Right.
matter what what you do.
And
Um,
it's always changing.
Yes, yes. Algorithms, all the things.
Right.
But to put something out there and see, okay, this isn't working, maybe we should change this. That is so much more powerful than sitting there and thinking, well, maybe I should do this and like trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Um, so the point of doing that week was, to make sure that we're getting it out there. We're making progress. We're
Well,
getting
and again, right, like, you know, it also allows you to prioritize those decisions and make those decisions. uh, I don't want to say immediately, but like in a timely fashion, because we can think about what color should I use, and now it's 6 months later and I haven't done anything about my colors, or
right,
which logo should I use, and it's 6 months later and we're still going back and forth over small details. And I'm sure it also helps with you, like you have a timeline to adhere to, but then it's not a project that you assume is going to take 3 months, but the person's not getting back to you, and now it's 9 months, and it's just sitting over
right.
both of your heads that this project isn't finished.
Right. It also gives me the ability to focus solely on you, the client, for that week. There's
Yeah.
nobody else in my queue. I'm not working on anything else but you. And so that allows me to give my full attention and creative process towards that one client, that one person. And it gives me the ability to give a better product because of that. So, if I'm not pulled in a million different creative directions, because the way my mind works, and I think most creatives work, is like we're constantly thinking about it. Even when I'm, kind of close the laptop, haven't, not physically working on it, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I'm like, maybe we should change this, maybe because the
Right.
problems come up and I'm trying to problem solve in my brain, but it's sticking with me the whole week. It's still there. So it's something I live with for that week is you. Like I'm doing that brand only.
Right.
So it just helps me build a better product and create something that's just really just better all around.
I love that.
Mhm.
What? being a business owner yourself now for 5 years and having this experience, what is it that maybe you wish you knew as a beginning entrepreneur? If you could go back to the beginning.
Um, I wish I would have trusted myself more. I think in the first few years, I wasn't, I think I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wasn't fully dedicated to what I was doing. I was kind of looking for other jobs. I was kind of trying to find ways to, because the financial piece of it was really sticking to me. Um, and so I wasn't trusting that this was the path for me. Like I wasn't dedicated to it. And so I wasn't putting enough effort into finding my packages and figuring out what my business was and what it meant to me and what who I really wanted to help and what it was that I was trying to do. I think I had figments of it and pieces of it, but it wasn't fully built out as this really strong message and the confidence just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so um I think another piece of it was, having that trusting myself and believing that this is possible was putting it out there. And part of that was coming to Teacup and like being part of the group and meeting other women and having conversations about my business. Um, Although awkward at first, and I felt awkward at first talking about it in the way that I was communicating my business,
Mhm.
I have since felt much more confident communicating. Um, Truthfully, doing a podcast like last year would have been the scariest thing to me, like was the scariest thing to me because I had a VA and she was trying to tell me like you got to do it, like it's great. And I was just like, I don't know, it's not for me. I'm not really a public speaker. um I would have never been able to do this, a year ago. And I
And
think
now you've done a few, I think,
I
right?
have, yeah. And I think that's like, I think I'm thankful to you and your group because of that. Like I feel like I'm able to have these types of conversations because of Teacup and being part of this networking group and finding it's almost like finding other people that are kind of going through similar things. Just makes me feel less alone and makes me feel like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I can do this,
Well,
feel
and
stronger.
as you mentioned too,
Mhm.
I heard from a coach many years ago, and she was like, well, you don't make money in the first 3 years of your business. And I was like, well, that's not a thing. And then I went into business and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't just make money month one
Yeah,
or month two,
right.
or okay, now I'm breaking even. But all the money I'm making is going right back into sustaining the business because I was still figuring out what it was. And,
Mhm.
that's where, for me, the community became so important because it was like, how do I keep going when there's not this financial pouring in of success? And
Yeah.
some people do. They go into business because they've already got something set up and there's already money coming in. And so it just makes sense for them. And
Mhm.
others who are starting it from scratch,
Mhm.
the money doesn't just land all of the time. And so it's a lot of, you said like your husband was supportive. It meant some lifestyle changes. It was very similar at our house. And so I think having community who has been there, who can relate and can talk about it and can support you so that you had said so you can put 2 feet in.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, it's not really working. Well, are you fully committed? Yeah, but also like I need it to work to commit because but it's this like weird balance and struggle of how do I create this thing and keep trusting that by stepping in and by doing it. And that's exactly what you do. You step in and you just trust that what you're doing is going to build your confidence. And the more you start talking about it, the more you showing up for it, it's it's going to come.
Right. Yeah, I think it's something that I didn't even like really recognize until recently because I think I've been with Teacup for a year or so now at this point. Um, and I think it was, I recognized I liked coming back. I liked talking to meeting people and talking to the people. I liked the activities that were happening in connection events. I really loved how you handled the meetings. They're not stuffy like other networking groups. Um, but I think one of the things that I just didn't realize until recently was the confidence piece of it. And like seeing that having those conversations and being able to talk to other women, made me feel like, okay, I do know what I'm doing. Other people are dealing with the same things, I'm not crazy. Just having that confirmation, I guess, that I have permission to do this. I have permission to like be a business owner and do it the way that I want to. And no process looks the same. Like everything is different. Like I was just mentioning, thinking about going back to a full-time job. That's okay. You can do, a full-time job and still work on this if that's a need. Like
Yeah.
there's
To,
no right.
to help you feel that stability so that then you can be creative and not, I need a
Yeah,
client today.
right, right,
I need to find a client because
right.
nobody wants to work with somebody who needs a client.
Exactly.
They want to
Yeah.
work with somebody who has the space to be creative
Right.
and who has the regulation to say, like, okay, like my finances are figured out over here with my job, but also now I get to play over here with what we're going to work on together, or, and finding that balance, I think is important
Yeah.
because I think there is shame in, I started this business. Well, it's not working. So now I need to go find a job, but finding a job to have financial security so that you can also build the business is just as great
Yeah.
and just as important sometimes for some people.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So if there is a woman right now sitting and she's like maybe 2 years into her business, she's like done a little bit of DIY on her website, and she's listening to this and she's thinking, okay, what should I do next? Like, because we just talked about like you can't just build a website and let it do all the work for you. You then have to go and network. You've got to build your confidence. You've got to let people know that your website exists.
Hmm.
So maybe she's not really feeling confident. She's got something out there, but do you have advice for her, or maybe like one step that she can take?
Yeah. So don't do it all on your own. I think that's like the piece that I need to reiterate to other people.
Yeah.
Um, it is expensive to hire help. It is expensive to find, people to support you with your path forward. But trying to learn and do all the things is impossible. Like you just can't. You can't do it all. And so having help is going to give you so much relief. I think the biggest step in my business, or the thing that kind of catapulted me to growth, or to, keep me moving forward, was when I hired a VA. She was 10 hours a month, and that was it. And that felt like a low barrier cost for me. It was something that was super small. Um, but the 10 hours was huge for me. I felt the impact immediately with her.
Yeah.
And so having that help was huge for me. And I saw changes in my business almost immediately. And so also having her has held me accountable. Like I know that I had that financial commitment monthly to pay for. And so I know that I have to make money to get that payment done.
Right.
And so I have more of a push, a need to make that money. It's not just for me anymore, it's for other people.
Yeah.
And so the help has helped me get organized. I mean, I've had other people along the way help me with different things, but um, that in particular was like my first real like thing that stuck. And I saw an immediate impact with her. And so she's been part of my team to like, we have conversations about strategy monthly, things like that, where um, I think she is a gem. I think she's like someone that's, not the typical VA. She
Mhm.
is local to me and, she's kind of a friend at this point. But I will say that finding the right fit for your next step, like whatever it is that you need help with, that you struggle with, um, it's going to help you so much more than you think. Um, and finding something that's low barrier, that gives you the ability to have the flexibility to make that cost. And maybe it's kind of saving up for it or something.
Yeah.
That
I
is
think I think remembering too, like you don't need help in all of the areas all at once.
right.
Like
Yes.
you can do one thing at a time. Like if you're thinking I need a logo and have nowhere to start, you can start with a logo,
Yeah.
finding someone to help you with a logo, and then putting it up on your DIY website. And then finding someone who does something else. And maybe it's only a few hours to see, like, okay, I need help with this thing.
Mhm.
That you don't need to hire the coach, hire the web designer, hire the marketing person, hire the PR all at the same time.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's a little difficult to discern and prioritize where we should spend the money at the beginning of our business
Right.
because we want to do all of the things.
Yes.
And so if someone is really trying to discern and decide, I know one of the things that you do is a website audit.
Hmm.
And so can you kind of walk us through what that looks like for somebody who's not ready to just like hand over their web design because it is one more thing that they feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to outsource this. I need someone else to do this. But you do more of like an audit
Yeah.
with takeaways
Hmm.
or with strategy. So what does that look like?
Yeah. So that has become less of an audit and more of a strategy call at this point. It's more of it's customized to each person. And the way that it works is you sign up for, you get 90 minutes of my time where I'll ask you questions about what your goals are with your website or your branding, where are your sticking points right now within your business? What are you trying to accomplish? And I get those details from you in that conversation. Ahead of time, I will look at your website, your social media, and kind of gather my thoughts before we talk, just because I just want to see, what we're going into. Um, and already have kind of an idea of the type of conversation we need to have. But we have that conversation. I want to understand where your thoughts are and what it is that you're trying to do because your website should be based around your goals. What is the main thing that you want people to do to your website? And so understanding that is helpful. And then, guiding that conversation where we talk about the different pieces that you should be changing or updating on your website. And normally it's just tweaks. Um, looking at how your navigation is set up, the type of language you're using in your navigation. A lot of people miss on a hero on a website, which I know is like a term that most people don't know or don't hear often. A hero is the above the fold section on your homepage. It's the first piece of content that people are seeing when they come to your website.
Well, I've learned
That
from you, if nothing else, that hero should be good. So
that is your your piece that no, everyone should know who you are through that hero. That is your first touch point with your client. That is the first thing that you want people to know who you are, and what you're saying is so important there. And so most people don't even have that, initial conversation in that piece there. Um, and so showing people the way of how to make a really strong hero is really important in that conversation. I kind of guide them in how to do that, things that they could do to implement or change what they have currently. But then we kind of walk through all of the other pieces. So, sometimes we go into social media, but normally we kind of stick closer to the website and we're talking through how the flow of the website is working, things that they should include, what they should maybe remove. A lot of times there's lots of blocks of content that they need to break up, but it really varies. But ultimately, after that conversation, you get a bulleted list of the steps that you need to take after our conversation. of what is going to improve your website and why. And I always encourage people, like, don't feel like you can do this all right away because it is a lot of information, it is a lot of detail. I
The theme
expect
keeps coming up. You don't need to do it all at once. It can take
Yeah.
time.
Right. And so I do like make the list based on priority. Like, do this first. This is your most important thing that you should be touching. And think about the rest of these later.
Yeah.
So I try to make it as easy and straightforward as possible. And that really helps post conversation. I don't want you to take notes while we're talking. Like, I want this to be a conversational, like, you know, experience for you that you don't feel like, okay, I got to write down all these pieces. No, I want you to fully understand, and then I'll give you the notes later. Like, I'm in charge of that. So it is a really great way to essentially DIY based off of what you've already done to know where you're at and kind of get a baseline of how you could improve. Um,
Love it.
yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to find you, see some of your work, they can go to check out TeaCup Entrepreneurs to see some of your work. But where can they find you and online? Like, where would you love people to go check out your work?
Yeah, so flowerbudscreative.com is my website. You can go into the services section to learn more about my services and what I offer. But you can get a pretty good idea throughout the whole website. Like I was mentioning, the goal is to tell the story, so the homepage should give you a lot of information. But I do have a social media also if you wanted to go to my Instagram, as well as a Pinterest. And yeah, those are the two main spaces that I kind of have been connecting a lot lately. I have used
Flower
LinkedIn.
Buds Creative at all of those places.
Yes. Yeah. I do use LinkedIn as well, but that's more of like my personal page, my Nikki Holbrook account, where I will communicate on there, but definitely available to connect there as
And
well.
we'll link all of those things in the show notes so that people can go find them and figure out which spot they're at to update their website if they're at the DIY and need a little bit of support, or if they are ready to just outsource that and
Yeah.
have you do it all. But thank you so much, Nikki, for joining me today and for being such a beautiful part of our teacup community. I know you did a presentation this past month with our community, and it was so well received. And so many of the women were just like, thank goodness. Like that was so helpful. But for everyone watching, remember connection and clarity, they start by showing up. And your website is a great place, a very powerful place where that starts. And so check out Nikki's work at Flower Buds Creative for all of your needs. And check out us next time on Tea Time with Teacup Entrepreneurs. Thanks, everyone. Connect soon.